All right, let's get right into it. If you're a Ford owner, you've probably seen that dreaded check engine light pop on at some point. Well, today, we're going to crack one of the common codes behind it, P2610. We're here to turn that confusing code into a really clear, simple action plan.
Ah, there it is, that little glowing light on your dashboard that just, instantly gives you a headache. If you plug in your scan tool and it spits out P2610, don't panic. Seriously, we're going to walk you through exactly what that means and, more importantly, how to get it fixed.
So what on earth does all that technical jargon actually mean? Well, think of your car's main computer, the PCM, as having a little internal stopwatch. This timer, it keeps track of a few things for a short while even after you've shut the engine off. Code P2610 is basically your car telling you, hey, that timer isn't working right. It's kind of like an issue with the engine's short-term memory.
This right here, this is our diagnostic roadmap. As you can see, there are a handful of things that could be causing this, from electrical gremlins in the KAPWR circuit and battery cables all the way to problems with your cooling system. But here's the good news. Each one has a direct solution. So let's start the investigation, and we'll begin with the most likely culprits.
Okay, our investigation kicks off with the usual suspects, the electrical system. 9 times out of 10, this is where you're going to want to look first because these issues are often the root of the whole problem.
So, the number one suspect in our electrical lineup is something called the KAPWR circuit. This little circuit's job is to provide constant power to your vehicle's computer, which is absolutely essential for that engine-off memory we were just talking about.
Now, this KKRW circuit can go wrong in a couple of ways. First, you might have what's called an open circuit, which is just a fancy way of saying the voltage is wrong. It's either way too high or way too low. Or second, you could have a short to ground, and that usually points to some kind of physical damage to the wiring itself.
So, how do you actually fix it? Well, first things first, grab a multimeter and check the voltage. If it's not in the range your manufacturer says it should be, you'll need to dig a little deeper. A quick visual check might even show you some frayed or damaged wiring that needs to be repaired or totally replaced. And after any fix, always remember to reconnect the harness and test it again.
Let's move on to our next suspect. And you know what? This one is an old classic. Sometimes the most complicated sounding error codes come from the simplest problems, like a bad battery connection. You gotta promise me you'll never overlook the basics. And the fix here is super straightforward. First, just give the battery cables a wiggle. Are they loose? Tighten them up. While you're there, look for that crusty bluish-green corrosion on the terminals. If you see any, just grab a wire brush and scrub both the cables and the battery posts till they're shiny and clean. A solid connection is absolutely key.
All right, so what if you've checked all the electrical stuff and that pesky light is still on? Well, it's time to broaden our search. The next logical place we're going to look is the engine's cooling system.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. The cooling system? How is that related? Well, it might seem a little random, but a faulty cooling system can definitely trigger code P2610. See, the engine's computer relies on temperature data to work correctly, so if the cooling system isn't doing its job, the computer can get confused and throw this code.
Diagnosing this is pretty simple. First, just pop the hood and check your coolant level. If it's low, top it off with the right stuff for your car. But don't stop there. A low coolant level usually means you've got a leak somewhere, so take a good look at all the hoses and connections for any signs of dripping.
We are now down to our final suspect. So if the wiring's good, the battery is snug, and your coolant level is perfect, the problem might be a single specific part, the engine coolant temperature sensor, or ECT for short. You can think of this thing as your engine's personal thermometer. And for this one, the solution is about as direct as it gets. You don't repair these things. If that sensor is faulty or damaged, it just has to be replaced with a new one. It's a simple swap, and once it's done, you'll test the system again.
Phew, we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From wires and circuits to coolant and sensors. So now let's pull it all together into one simple step-by-step action plan that you can use to tackle this code head-on. Here it is, your final game plan. A super simple checklist to follow. Always start with the easiest and most common fix. Check and secure those battery cables. If that doesn't do it, then move on to testing the KPWR circuit. Still no luck? Okay, time to inspect the cooling system for any leaks or low levels. And finally, if all else fails, it's time to take a hard look at that ECT sensor. Trust me, following this order is going to save you a ton of time and frustration.
And this really is the key takeaway. P2610, it's a common code, for sure, but it's totally manageable.
By following these steps, you're not just fixing the problem you have today, you're also preventing bigger, more serious issues from popping up down the road. It's all about being proactive.
So, there you have it, a complete guide to figuring out and fixing Ford code P2610. You've got the roadmap, you've got the checklist. The only question left is, which one of these potential solutions is going to be the key that solves your P2610 puzzle and finally turns off that light?